everybody. Good afternoon to the Europeans. Good morning to the States. Good evening to the more Eastern people. So I'm really happy to introduce to you tonight Megan Harrington. Megan is a branding and web designer, and she helps small businesses. So we are going to dive into that. So Megan, can you tell us a bit more about yourself and about what you do and
Yeah,
your
well,
clients, who they are?
yeah, absolutely. Well, first, thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here. As you said, I am a branding and web designer. I own Zestful Media and Design, which is just my little own personal design firm that I have. My husband helps with some web design projects, but primarily it's just me. I do all of the designing. I work with small business owners. Usually they're service providers. They are realtors or health coaches, business coaches. Usually they're service-based entrepreneurs. And I pretty much kind of take all their creative tasks off their to-do list, whether it is starting their brand from scratch, making their logos, the visual aesthetic of their entire company, all the way to just like making business cards or email signatures. And then I also will help their online presence, building websites and landing pages, kind of anything that you could put your brand, make look professional, like look clean and pretty. I will take it off of your plate for you.
Okay. So
Yeah.
generally you're there at the start of the businesses
So
when
it really depends. Some people I am. Some people, if they have the forethought and they know that branding is important, they will reach out to me to make their logo. Or I could find someone who already has an established logo. They bought it someplace online or something and realize that they need it to be bigger, not just one logo, but a couple different variations of it. Or maybe they built a website 10 years ago and it's not mobile friendly anymore and it's out of date content wise, and now they need a fresh new look. So I work with people who have never owned a business to people who've been running a business for 20 plus years. So it really just depends on where they are and what their needs are at that point in time.
yeah, okay, that's true because I mean, we don't have to be stuck with a logo or to be stuck with a website. We can rebrand, redesign every so often
Yeah.
when we need it or when we do not feel aligned anymore with the design, the current design. So
Yep.
great,
Absolutely.
yeah. So indeed, all stages of the business.
Yep. For sure.
Yeah.
And sorry, my dog's behind me. If you see
No,
her
that's
moving,
okay.
she might make
Well,
an
you're
appearance.
far away.
Yeah. Well, we have one locked away with my husband chewing on a bone. Hopefully she'll be good. But then this one, she's always by my side. So I can't really go far without her.
You don't have to.
Yeah.
Perfectly okay. Okay, great.
Good.
So you said service providers, could be realtors, could be coaches, could be
Yep.
therapists, service-based businesses, small
Yep.
small business owners, and
Yep.
at kind of any stage of their business. So they come to you because, or they are starting and they need somebody who's going to take care of all the graphic design tasks, or they want to rebrand.
Yeah, so usually the problems that they're kind of facing is they don't know how to create a logo. They don't know how to get their idea across on paper. They may not be tech savvy when it comes to using design softwares or don't know anything about design softwares, or they don't know anything about how to optimize their social media pages. And so I can kind of give them tips and tricks on that as well, and how to create like cohesive Instagram feeds and that kind of stuff. So it usually the problems that they're facing is they either don't have time because they are experienced business owners and they're busy doing what they love to do and what they're good at, and so they need someone like me to come in and do what I'm good at and what I like to do. They just hate doing design work, period. They don't think they're creative enough for it, or they just don't know where to start. They don't know how to get their ideas onto a cohesive design and aesthetic. And so it's kind of usually one of those things: time, creativity, or just technology don't know how to do it.
Yeah, yeah. If I'm thinking about my own case, I love Canva
Yeah,
to
which is
start with.
great.
So I love using it, but I'm thinking, and I'm tech savvy as well, so I don't see it as a problem.
Right.
But what I don't have, where I could really definitely use somebody like you, is to create that, the templates for the social media posts and so on, and to create something that has an overall look and feel that it all feels the same. And
Right.
as you mentioned, to prepare the Instagram feed in a nice way. So I could, for instance, come to you and ask you to help me, probably to redesign my logo, because it was a quick Canva thing.
Yeah.
That I did myself, but like redesign a proper logo and then prepare some templates for me to have something really cohesive. That's
Yep.
something I could ask you for.
Yep, absolutely. So I do literally things as small as business cards up to like a full branding package can be upwards of like $1,500. And that's going to be several different logo options. And you're going to get several different editing rounds to like get your logos really the way you want it to look like. But then it also includes marketing materials. So your business card, your email signature, your social media cover photos, templates for social medias, you name it. And then usually in all my branding packages, or come on my branding packages, I allow for the person to choose what they need, because every business is different. Some people actually do still print out flyers and hand them out for different occasions, and other people are like strictly digital and they need a landing page. So I kind of keep it open for the business owner to be like, okay, this is what I really need. I run a nail salon and I need a menu of my services that looks nice and professional. So there's kind of always that aspect that every business needs something different. So I try to make my branding packages give that flexibility to whatever they are, because I haven't really niched down. I probably should. Everyone says you should really niche and hone in on those things, but literally every small business owner could use graphic design in one shape or form for sure. And so I just try to work with service providers because I like sharing their stories and I can relate to them because I used to be a realtor. So I understand their industries and what they're doing.
Well, you don't have to niche down if it works like that. And
Yeah.
I think what's really nice is indeed the diversity of there's diversity in what you propose, but also the diversity of the service providers. So one day
Yep.
you're doing the nail salon thing, and another day you're preparing a flyer for a realtor, and then another day you'll do a website for a coach. And
Yep.
I think it keeps it interesting as well for you.
It does. At one point, I was working with like pretty much all realtors just because I just kept getting referred to them. And I got burnt out. I was just like, there's only so many social media posts I can make about a house being closed on or a house being sold or under contract. I can't do it anymore. So then for a while, I was like, no more realtors. Like, I will stick to the ones I have and let's go find something else. And so now a lot of it's actually been a lot of health coaches. It seems to come in waves because I'll start working with one and they'll pass me on to their friends. So that's right now what it is, a lot of health coaches, which is great. It's fun. It's really interesting to see kind of a peek into their industries as well, because there's stuff that I have no idea about. And I have 4 health coaches, but they all specialize in different things. One does trauma, one does more corporate health, one does just straight fitness nutrition for nurses and first responders. So it's very interesting to see how people can take their niche and run in different ways. And you think, oh, everyone's a health coach, but no, it's very different. And so that's been really cool to see.
Yeah. And you get to learn a lot of things about that as well, about their
Yeah,
business.
I totally love it. One of my clients has like a recipe vault of all healthy recipes, and she essentially paid me to like make her recipes look nice. So now I have access to
Wow.
all of these healthy recipes because I've seen what they are, and this is something she makes her clients pay for. So it's kind of just like a running joke. It's like, oh, I'm making one of your recipes now, because it would technically be something that she charges for, but I designed it for her and I made it look nice, so she doesn't care that I have it. But so it's fun.
Yeah, completely.
Yeah.
So tell us about what brought you to what you are doing now. How did it all start, and how did it evolve for you?
Yeah. So honestly, I've probably been creating and doing graphic design work for longer than I even realized. I didn't realize what I was doing at the time, probably in high school and college, was graphic design. I always loved making PowerPoint presentations look really nice and like weirdly make Word documents look really nice, which Word documents are, it's not a design platform, which is so funny to think about it now, but just various things throughout my education, I would want to make pretty and look nice for school projects. And that was technically graphic design. And I didn't realize it. And I grew up in a family where my parents were engineers. So it was very much kind of drilled into me, you're going to go get a science or engineering degree, and you're going to get a master's, and you're going to go down the business path and do something along that route. And I started down that route, and I liked the college courses that I took, which was related to exercise science or kinesiology, but it never was really that exciting for me. And so when it came to the time, I was like, okay, well, now I'm supposed to apply for my master's and go get my graduate degree. It wasn't what I wanted to do. And I fell into becoming a realtor, and I really loved it. I loved working with people, but what I really loved was then doing the marketing aspect of real estate. So I liked making flyers for the communities that I worked in. I liked making social media posts because that's when social media was really starting to take off for business. I really liked helping other brokers that I worked with create for their communities. We were new home sales agents, so we worked with the builder and we had an assigned community that we sold, and I liked helping them with their projects, and I had a knack for it. And I really liked learning, like, well, how does a website work? How do you build a website? How do you make it look nice? And I was just a person that would just kind of dive in and figure it out. And it was very apparent that I was spending more time doing that than I was selling, which isn't great when you're in a sales role. But at the same time, I met my now husband, Brian, who is in the U.S. Navy. And it was becoming clear that if I wanted to be with him for my life, then I would have to give up the real estate where I was, because I lived not by the coast, and obviously the Navy is by the coast. And so I needed to go and be with him. But at the time, it looked like he was going to be moving a lot. And in the States, you can't be like a realtor for the entire country. I don't know how it works in France, but it's by your state. So I had a real estate license in North Carolina, but I was not going to be able to be a realtor in Virginia unless I got relicensed. And he was going to be moving a lot. So it didn't make sense for me to go and pay a couple $1,000s to relicense and take all the courses I have to when we're just going to be moving again. So I took a couple months off. I did some soul searching, and I came across a blog post of two girls who were like traveling the world, doing marketing for other small business owners, social media management, web design. I was like, well, that sounds interesting. And I read more into it, and they offered some courses in graphic design and being a virtual marketing assistant, essentially. And so I took the courses, and I really loved it. And I was like, you know what? Like, I've kind of already been doing this in my real estate job because I was helping out everyone else, and they all say that I'm good at it. I might as well give it a shot. And so I left my real estate job, and I moved to be with my husband. And in that town that he lived in, there was a realtor who was looking for a marketing assistant, a part-time marketing assistant. And it just kind of all fell into place. And both of our names were Megan, so we bond over that. And she'd already had an established company, but she needed help doing all the other creative tasks she didn't have time for. And she took a chance on me, and she let me do her social media and do her website. And I just kept convincing her to let me do more and more. And she said yes. And people started taking notice. Other realtors were like, what are you doing? Your social media looks great. Your website is different. And Megan was like, yeah, I've never gotten a lead from my website before, because she had one and it was not good. And I redid it for her. And it was my first website, and it looks terrible now. Like, I would love to go back and completely redo it now that I'm 4 years past that. But she started getting leads, 4 or 5 leads from her website every single month. In real estate, that's huge if they turn into paying clients. So it just kind of spiraled, and I kept getting referred out to other realtors, and that's how I had such a good track of realty, because in real estate, there are very strict rules of what you can and can't market. And so Megan gave me that chance because she knew I knew what I couldn't put in marketing materials and the things I couldn't say. And it just kind of grew, and I've absolutely loved it, helping out as many different people as I can. And I can do it anywhere, no matter where we live. So for a long time, we were in Virginia. Now we live in California, and I still have clients that are back in Virginia. So it's been great.
Yeah, because now you can work for clients anywhere in the world.
Yep. And I can do it on my time. People say, well, okay, well, you're going to be settled for a couple more years. Do you want to go find a corporate job doing what you're doing? And it's like, I don't know if I can give up like my flexibility. Now we have a son. I can choose to stay home with him, and I'm starting to kind of pivot my business a little bit to build courses so people can learn what I learn. and have an extra revenue stream come in so I can spend more time with him. Or whenever Brian is on break, because obviously with the Navy, you have very limited time off.
Yeah.
I don't have to worry about, will my time off work? I can be like, yeah, I'm going to ask my boss, which is myself, I'm going to go and we're going to go on vacation. So I don't think I could give up that flexibility after having 4 years of it. So.
No, I completely agree. I think once you've started working for yourself, it's really difficult to go back working for a boss.
Yeah.
That freedom that you have. Of course, there are disadvantages of being your own boss, but there are so many advantages. And I myself, I couldn't go back to working for somebody else either.
You really can't put a price tag on the freedom and the flexibility of your schedule. And because I'll see it's like, okay, I could definitely make more money in the corporate world, but my life will not look like what it does now. And I've tried putting a number on it, like what would get me back there. And I just can't seem to find one I think I'm qualified for. So I'll put myself out there in that way. But to just give up the flexibility of, because in America you get like 2 weeks off, maybe.
I know.
Like the vacation is so limited. Yeah, it's so limited. So it's like I can't do it. So
no, of course. And coming back to your story, it's really amazing how it all unfolded in such a way that one thing led you to another, which led you to yet another, and just made your business what it is now.
Yep. It is truly incredible. I think my parents had a little bit of a heart attack when I told them I wasn't going to go get a real job and I wasn't going to do it. And I think now my mom will look at me and she's like, I should have just trusted you because you've always just figured it out. And it's always seemed to just kind of work out for you. You work hard at it and you figure it out. And she sees how rewarding it is for me now, my mom especially. And she was just like, I wish I would have been taken that risk when I was your age and realized that I didn't need to be stuck in the corporate grind. I didn't need to give up my life and my time with my kids and all that stuff for what she gave. She gave us a great life and she'll never regret that. And I will never take that as with a great, like I will always appreciate that for sure. But she's like, I just wish I would have had the desire to go and figure out what truly made me happy and then go and make a life out of it. And that's my biggest advice to anybody is if you find something you're passionate about, figure out a way that you can make money doing it or serve your community so you feel fulfilled enough for it to matter.
Yeah, I fully agree. And then also just follow the breadcrumbs.
Yep.
Follow your heart and take joy in the things you do and find the ones that bring you joy and pursue that path and see what happens.
Yep. Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay, so coming back to your clients, so they come to you, they have that need, they maybe not have enough time or not have enough skills, or maybe both. So you work with them for, it depends, right? It could be 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. It's not a specific or a set time because you said your package is very flexible because it really depends what they need. And then
go ahead.
And then when you have finished building the website, the business cards, the logos, the templates and so on, so they can just go on their own until they need you again, obviously, but they can just go on their own and they have their social media templates already, for instance, and they know that they have something that looks nice, is cohesive, coherent, and then off they go, right?
Yep. It really depends on the client and what they're looking for. Some clients are like, I just need a logo, just get me a logo, and they are going to try to figure out the rest on their own. And then other people, I build their branding package, and they're like, well, can you actually, and they maybe get like a smaller branding package that doesn't have all their marketing materials. And then it was so easy working with me on the first part that they're like, well, actually, can you create my Facebook cover for me? Or could you do this? It's like, okay, yeah. And then I have clients that maybe they came from me strictly just for freelance graphic design work. And I can pretty much kind of consistently in my mind know how much they're going to spend every month because I do the same 3 or 4 tasks for them. Like I have a business coach who does master classes every month, and she wants a couple marketing materials for her master class each month. So we don't really have a contract. She just pays my hourly rate, and we just kind of go back and forth, back and forth. And then there are people who they'll go from the branding package and that was so great. And then a couple months from now or right away, they're like, all right, let's just do my website. Let's get it going. I want to do that. So it really depends. It depends on what they need. But some people I've been working with for several years because they're just constantly being like, all right, now I need this for this project or this class that I'm going to host. Or then when I first started out, I was doing social media management. So I was doing the full like writing captions and posting for my clients. I don't do that anymore because when you're doing it for 5 realtors, it gets very repetitive. But they were with me for several years doing it. And because we had built that rapport, whenever they have a project arise or they need something edited that I'd previously made for them, they'll reach back out to me and I will work with them. So I'm constantly getting new people in, and some stay and some don't. But typically they refer other people. So even if they don't continuously work with me, they've referred someone else, and that is the same to me. And I can expand my business even more that way.
Yeah, it's perfect. And did I understand correctly that you said you were building courses to help people do it themselves? For maybe you're building like a DIY your website course or something like that, or?
Yeah, so I have a lot of different ideas. I haven't put them all in place. I already have one like Canva course, and it corresponds to how to make like a cohesive Instagram feed. It's really cheap. It's only $10. It's like 38 minutes, and it just gives you all of like my Canva editing tips, that kind of stuff. But now I'm going to start kind of going through the whole process that I go through with the client. So this first one, which is going to be released next week, is kind of like understand your brand. And it takes you through the steps of figuring out like what your mission is, your company's mission, your brand's mission, and then how you build on that to be able to target your ideal demographic because you've learned who your ideal customer is and what their pain points are. It talks to you then about the visual aspects of logos and colors and fonts. And at the end, it kind of all ties it into a branding guidelines or a style guide so that you can refer to it when you need to make a marketing decision or a business decision. It's like, okay, well, this was my mission. What is now in front of me, is that going to push me towards my mission or take me away from my mission? And kind of, I feel like a lot of companies need that grounding focus, and big companies, they already have that. But small business owners, they may not realize that this is something they need and something that's going to make their life so much simpler, because a lot of the things I hear in my Facebook group are, I don't know how to be consistent. I don't know how to build that consistency, or I don't know how to reach my target demographic. And it's like, if you had your roadmap laid out in your style guide, which is something you do in branding, you would know, okay, well, for this next social media flyer or this next social media post, I'm going to use these colors because those are my brand colors. I'm going to have this type tone in my caption because that is the messaging that's going to correspond with my clients. So that's kind of the first step. And then we're going to go into probably doing a course on how do you build all those different marketing avenues, whether it's like print stuff or building your own landing page or then building up to a website. I'm probably going to figure out a way to do like template websites that people can purchase, and then they'll get with the purchase of the template, they get a course kind of walking them through of how do they actually edit the template to make it their own live website. But we're not quite there yet.
Okay, well, you're definitely a busy bee.
Yeah. And so we're kind of trying to take this last couple months of my husband he is a grad student right now in the Navy. And so all of his classes are remote, so he can help out with our son. And I'm frantically trying to get all this stuff done so that it's set up. So when he goes away and he actually has to go to class in person, I am not scrambling trying to figure all this out. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
It's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. Yeah. So, would there be any tips that you can give our audience when it comes to branding or your website or your social media feed, or anything that comes to mind that you could, any tips you could give?
Yeah, I'd say if you are an established business, whether you've only been in business for a month or two or years, first you need to see what's working with your marketing and figure out, start there. Is your website bringing you leads? Okay, well, why isn't it bringing you leads? Is your social media not growing? Well, why isn't it growing? And then once you've figured out what's working and what's not, how can you change it? And what is going to make it so that they're all seamlessly working together and getting your mission and your point across? And that's when it really comes down to, then you really need to make sure you've defined what your mission is and who your target demographic is and what's the tone of your captions that are going to reach them. So first figure out, like, is your marketing working or not? Or if you're new, because I know this is a lot of new business owners, if social media is the route you want to go because it's free, okay, which social media accounts are you wanting to grow? Is it Facebook? Is it Instagram? Figure out what makes those platforms successful. For Instagram, it's being very nice and visual, so make sure you have a visual content. So kind of have a plan of what you want to do marketing wise, like as just like your goals and what you need to fix. And then come in and hone in on, okay, so I have a logo, but none of my marketing materials really look that consistent. So what can I do to make them consistent? Well, I could use the same colors and fonts. So learn what your colors and fonts are and just start small. Unless you have the time, then go big and hopefully sign up for this course that I'm about to put out because it's going to make it a lot easier for people. But start with figuring out small things that you can do to start building consistency. Visually, that is going to be your go-to, because on social media, what's going to stop the scroll is something that's going to catch your eye. So having a really nice aesthetic looking post or Instagram feed is what's going to get you noticed first. And it's how my business built, is because I built that for a client. And then start expanding from there. Learn about the tone you want to set in your messaging and the points you want to get across to your clients, and kind of go that route. But first figure out what's working or how you really want to reach those clients, and then figure out what do you need to do to get to those clients and what's going to stop them in their tracks so they listen to what you have to say.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, if I can come back to what you said earlier with the first tip, I think what I also help my clients with is to define who their ideal clients are.
Yep.
Because that's definitely some basic information that you need to know upfront, because they will also determine the tone that you are going to use with them. And that will also determine which platform or platforms you want to be using.
Yep.
Because it's not because you love Instagram, because it's visual, that you need to be there. You need to go where your ideal clients are.
Yep.
First of all, I would say.
Yeah, if you're trying to reach people who are in their 40s and 50s, you're probably not going to be on TikTok. Like, it's just, you're probably going to be more on Facebook. And then now they're starting to go to Instagram. I'm not even, I mean, I have a TikTok account, but I don't post on TikTok because I even feel I'm somewhat too old for it, even though I know I'm not. But so yeah, you really have to figure out where they're going to be at and then really focus on that. Don't try to be everywhere, because most likely your friends and family will follow you on both accounts, but they're not going to want to see the exact same thing everywhere you can post something. So the more you can hone in on where you want to go and get people to that account is probably the biggest thing, for sure. And figuring out where those people are.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Well, thank you very much for this very nice interview, this moment we shared together. And
yeah, I appreciate it.
Yeah. So, well, for everybody who wants to get in touch with you, I'm going to put those links to your website and to your Facebook group, because you have a free community group as well. So I'm going to put those links. So if anybody wants to reach out to you after our interview, then you're more than welcome. And I wish everybody a good day or evening, and I see you soon. Thank you very much, Megan.
Thank you for having me. Bye, guys.
Bye.